So myself, Dr. Tanuja Mohanty, working here as a faculty in SPS JNU. I think it's audible, right? As such it is audible, but for your recording, is it audible?
Yes.
Okay, it's fine. I work in, I have already 10 to 12 PhD students. They are done, 2-3 students are doing PhD now and 10 students have done the degree. Normally I work in experimental condensed matter physics, mostly on nanomaterials. Nanomaterials, that is on 2D materials, single quantum dots and etc. But here I will tell about 2D materials. The talk is on quantum emission from 2D materials and their composites. So this talk, before going for the talk, let me, because I didn't have the interaction, let me have a 1 minute interaction with you. So you are from which university? Just at a time you can say Tezpur University. Some people have come yesterday, right? Others are from Dipsaru, then Punjab University. Central University, CUP, right? So, okay. So, I don't know whether there have been talk already on this material, 2D material already there have been a talk or not? Quantum dot has been done. Okay, so before that, I will tell about the quantum emission from 2D materials. So the plan of lecture is as follows. So even though when probably Professor Kedar Singh had told on quantum dot, I don't know who have talked. So then this plan of lecture will be as follows: nanomaterials and 2D materials, and they are. Okay, so optical properties and photoluminescence, because I'll mostly focus on the emission properties, so I'll basic understanding of optical properties and photoluminescence, the emission, the luminescence property I'll explain, then the quantum emission fundamentals, then there will be single photon emitters in 2D systems, 2D nanomaterial, and then composites, they have also impact, and then application and future directions. Okay. So, now coming, I think you might be knowing, still then my duty is to explain it from the beginning. So, nanomaterials and 2D materials, they are fundamental. 2D materials are like you have the papers, thin papers, and it has the dimension of the nanometer. So, it is like 1 nanometer, it comes as because one atomic thick layer, one layer thickness is when it comes in Armstrong, like 2 layers, so it is 1 nanometer thickness, but its width can be of the millimeter and something. It is confined in different directions, like 3 directions, so it can be quantum dot. That it is like the powders you use daily, but it is in micron size. The powders, when it comes to the nanometer size, then we say a nano powder, but specific condition, if it satisfies, then it says about the quantum dot. And also you have the nanowires, you might have heard the word as a nanotubes. Nanotube means carbon nanotube. Tubes means it's a wire, it's a long length, but which has the diameter very small, means length is very high, but diameter is, so it has the dimension Z and X, you can say that has, or Y as dimension is in the nanometer, but X dimension, or in the Z if you take it perpendicular. So they are coming, so you say it as a nanowire, and carbon nanotubes, boron nanotubes are used. And why it is spatial? The spatial is like what is new in it, because when you thin it, like I'll tell you about a very simple thing which it should not go in the text, but I can tell you later on because it is recorded. Because it's your grandmother's thing, like when somebody cooks the food, right? The basically, if you have heard, there are the vegetables they cut, or the anything ingredient they cut, okay? So, or the onions they cut. The basic fundamental is also like that. So, there are different shapes, the vegetable or the anything meat or anything can be cut. So, why it is cut in different sizes? Sometimes they say like in Hindi that badik badik, or sometimes they say lambe. So, there what is there, they do it by practice, right? So when you cut it in that way, your shapes are changes, okay? When the shape changes, the surface exposure changes. So when the exposure changes, then what happens? The temperature, pressure, what they will sustain, that also changes. So accordingly, the recipe and all those things changes. So the basic fundamental of that which is there, that the surface, high surface to volume ratio. So when you cut it, slice it, or you make it so most of the atoms are on the surface, or if I slice it, so majority are on the surface. If I just make it a powder, the number of atoms inside it is much less than that are on the top. So whenever I have a thing and it just faces, then the number of like exposure, so they will interact on the surface who are there, right? So therefore, the kind of interaction mechanism will increase. So that's why high surface to volume ratio is important. And you have, the next is the quantum confinement, which is the basic in physics, that you have this law that energy, or DOS, density of states, that changes when you do it with quantum dot, means not quantum dot, you have 1 dimension, 2 dimension, like quantum well, right? With quantum confinement you have studied. So when quantum confinement is there, what is happening? The band gap is like the band gap initially, what we say, for a particular atom or molecule, we have a discrete energy level. Like when there is a composite a material, we have a band, right? So, but when it is again coming to this, then they are again becoming discrete, because the number of electrons to get occupy so many levels, so many values decreases. So the energy, the electron can have the energy a particular value, discrete. That's why you say discrete, means a particular value that it can have. So the DOS, which you must have studied in quantum mechanics, that the density of states for all this quantum well and all these things are done. So you must have studied. So the same thing here it works. So when the band gap changes, what is a band gap? It is a conduction band and valence band gap. So if it is discrete, then the band gap is changing. Now if the band gap is changing, what will happen? All the properties will change, because all the properties of the material is like your depends upon one important parameter is electron. Right? Electron concentration, electron jumping, electron. So who is the major factor is electron. Now because the band gap is changing, so the transition between the valence band and the conduction band, the time and everything is changing. Now then the property will change, right? So therefore we have the same thing, like you have the confinement in 2 direction for 1D, whatever I have said, and the quantum dot is C60, that metal nanoparticle. So discrete atomic level and size tunable emission, that I will say about the emission, because suppose this is the band gap, right? I have the band gap, it is increasing, right? The electron will go from here to upper and then it will come back, right? If that varies, then the absorption as well emission will vary. Then why it will vary? That is happening because the energy of the electron is, that quantum confinement is occurring. Suppose it is for 2 nanometer size, the difference between in the band gap is different than the 5 nanometer. But whenever it goes about a particular size, suppose 50 nanometer, 100 nanometer, the band gap, it is now in energy level. So 2 big gaps, so then it is a band gap is a fix. Okay. So therefore all the properties that changes. So in that way, you have the confinement in 2 directions. So what are the examples of it? Like examples in this 2D material are different: graphene, HBN, MOS2, WS2, WSE2, and many more materials. Like each day a new material is discovered after the graphene, which was Nobel Prize in 2010, but discovered in 2004. So after that, each day means a new material can we make in this size. So everything they are trying to make it 2 dimensional. Then key properties is what? Then direct band gap. So direct band gap, indirect band gap, you must be knowing. I think you must be knowing about the direct band gap and indirect band gap. So if it is the conduction band minimum and the valence band maximum directly without any phonon, then it is direct band gap, सीधा jump करेंगे. And if it is not in the that here takes about the phonon into contribution, then that K factor, if it comes, then we say at the indirect band gap. So here, even if a material is a indirect band gap at normal bulk, means normal stage, you can say here it is a bulk material, right? So which have no confinement, we say it is a bulk material. So even if, but when it goes to a very thin layer, it goes about a direct band gap. So the band gap changes, not only the discrete energy as well as the band gap changes. And here we have the confinement in 3D, so there is no confinement, and it is a like grain boundary effect and enhanced surface area. So now this next, so this formula, you know, this energy level, right? So that L means what? L means what? So the length, right? Length of what? That means the diameter of the particle. So as the L varies, so L, so that L dependent, right? So you will have the energy, right? So this for n square, pi square, h square, 2ml square, and you have n equal to 1, n equal, so you have the energy level particle in a box. So particle in a box explained you in quantum mechanics. That means box means why you say particle in a box. It is not going out of the box. It is inside the box. That means it is confined in a length of L. So, okay, that is particle in a box. In nanomaterial, if I say the particle is or quantum dot is of size 5 nanometer, that means it is in a particle cubical particle having a length, breadth and width as L equal to that 5 nanometer. So the same way the energy will increase, once energy level will be discrete because it is not continuous. Now the physical consequence because of the discrete energy level, so basic thing what is happening in nanomaterial is that whether 2D, 1D or 0D, that it is the band gap is getting changed, number one. Means if it is indirect, it is coming to direct. It is if it is higher, layer lower, it is increasing. So everything, if band gap is changing, then it is like the probability of transition is changing, the probability of emission is changing. So as such, then its emission, band gap, the density of states, everything is changing accordingly. Okay. So then the other thing, as I said in a very rough, means in a general manner, that surface to volume ratio, you can just calculate 3 pi r square, 2 pi r like that. This is theoretically, but I am saying for anything whatever you do in the day to everything, by practice we do something, but it is always the surface that gives you, if it is exposed more, exposure is more, the number of atoms on the surface are more, they will interact on that. So naturally, so how to increase the surface to volume ratio? This is the way where you can, surface to volume ratio can be changed. So if you use it for some particular purpose, suppose it is photocatalysis, photocatalysis means like reducing the pollutant and all those things. So that means your, there also the catalysis, like it needs the surface area, that also increases that higher rates, and so also anything like absorption is required, so that or like adsorbate, absorption is different. Adsorption means suppose a sponge it is there, it is taking, you are just squeezing the water and that is it is getting adsorbed. Water is adsorbed in it. So adsorbent is used for different like pollution removal and all those things. So if the sponge size, sponge means piece, size, surface is more, then it can absorb more water, right? So that way you say the adsorbates or the defect dominant properties are different. So now we'll come to, so out of this 0D, 1D, 2D materials and 3D as such that doesn't have any confinement, as you say it is a ball. We will come back to our focus to our discussion, which is of 2D materials. That 2D materials is like, it is a family tree, like starts with graphene. So starts with graphene, you have the starts with graphene, which is a semi-metal, zero gap, and bilayer graphene has this like zero, and there is a fluorographene, means you use the fluorine. Besides that, so graphene, you, if you have heard, I don't know, it is a carbon based. Once you say normally many students have heard about it. It is a carbon in hexagonal form, so that is a graphene. Have you heard about one other, means many research, my student does in, she has done the page, going to submit the page. Have you heard about borofin? Graphene you have heard? Everybody, right? It is carbon, 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 right? It is in a hexagonal, each one is a honeycomb lattice, or you say carbon, so there is a borofin, I have written somewhere here, it is a jeans. So borofin means, if I keep it boron, 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 right, that also can be done borofin. If I make silicon, 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 then it can be of silicon, right? So antimony. So it is not that graphene is the only thing. There are many things which can be done. They are called as monoelemental genes. There is said here about the genes here. So genes or magazines, you add something, then it comes the metallic. These are the magazines, but the initial was borofin and silicon, antimony. You said about the metal. So there, now I'll ask you the question, if it is a hexagonal structure, right? Hexagonal, then how they are in hexagonal? So there it happens like inside the hexagonal, there will be a cut, like joining 2 points. So you will have AB type, right? So 3, 3 trigonal inside an hexagonal. It will be a structure wise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You join like this. You will have a trigonal inside the hexagonal. How many trigonal things or triangle if you add, you will get the hexagonal structure? 6, right? Just think. So that way you can have the trigonal element also in the. So these are other elements. Now you have other coming to back the 2D materials. This is the HBN. So you have different types of material. There is a that picture was there in the beginning which I have said. So this graphene is your zero gap, right? So means conduction valence band, they are joined together. So it is metallic. Now you will have HBN, that is hexagonal boron nitride, okay, which has 6 electron volt band gap. 6 electron volt means what will happen? It will be insulator, right? So, but it has importance. So insulator, then there are these transition metal dichalcogenides, means transition metal will be there, means like you have molybdenum, niobium, wolfram, like all these things, and chalcogenides is group 6 element, group 6, first oxygen and this one you don't consider it, then the sulfur, then Sc, then tellurium, that we say are the chalcogenides. So combine it from this side left to right, then you get it at the transition metal dichalcogenides. Some of it like niobium selenide, that becomes superconductor, and the other materials it can be MOS2, MOSC2, MOT2. There are so many materials. They have not zero band gap, not 6 EB band gap, but in between band gap. But they have an unique property that when they are in a normal form, right? When they are in the normal form, like in a 2D material, so like if I say 5 layers, like 6, in the bulk, they have the indirect band gap. So indirect band gap, if it happens, then what will happen? The transition from valence band peak to valence band maximum to conduction band minimum will not be direct. Indirect band gap, it will be here, there will be here, and there will be a phonon in between which will contribute. So if it contributes, this will not go directly, then it will have to take something in addition to go up. And similarly, if it comes down from the excited state, then the phonon will come. So then the amount of emission or absorption which it should have, it will not have, right? So therefore, where this happens in the bulk or some few layer, means number of layers are there, that is in TMDC. But if it goes to monolayer means just one layer, right? So if I have in paper, so you have just one thin paper, but this paper can have thousands of monolayer. So that monolayer if I have, then it is a direct band gap. So if there is a direct band gap, then how you will prove it? I will come later on. So direct band gap, if it is there, then it will help in like direct absorption, right, or emission. Then in which type of optical property you can see it? You have any idea how the optical absorption takes place? The bigger thing I don't ask, smaller thing. Oh yeah, photon absorption, but like optical absorption, yes, photon absorption. So how this absorption, anything you have heard about or you have done the experiment, UV absorption, UV visible absorption, anybody have done? You have done. So what happens in UV visible absorption? What you do in UV visible absorption? Tube head, okay, liquid, and you expose with some deuterium light, okay, and then it goes. So then you measure the incident and the outgoing light. So there you find it, right? So what it happens? Some of the light has some of the particle have taken the energy from the light and have gone from the ground state to the excited state, right? So that is the absorption. But if there is not the direct band gap, so it will be a problem, right? And if it is very high band gap, then the amount of energy you provide through your light, that is your visible light or UV light, may not be enough to transfer it from the valence band to the conduction band, right? So these type of material in TMDC, they are of the band gap. If it is open, means if it goes to the monolayer, that becomes around 2 eV, 2.3 eV. So if it is 2.3 eV, may I ask you the question, which type of light has the energy around 2.3 eV? UV, visible, and which type of light? And exactly. Visible light range, you know? कितना है? 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. So if it is 400 nanometer, then it is 3 eV, right? Okay, and 700 comes to be around 1.5 eV, right? So if it is 2 eV, then it will come in the visible range. So that means if I know that you have a sample of this 2 eV and you can expose with the visible light, it can jump, it can observe and go up, right? So that you will know that whether the absorption is taking place. That means you have the direct band gap, you are being able to generate a monolayer of the sample, right? So then we have the other things, as I said, about the MACGENS and the GENS, that is like they are metallic MACGENS, and then monochalcogenides. These are transition metal plus chalconogenides, means sulfur, selenium, tellurium. In your periodic table, they are called as the chalconogenide group VI. So here it is monochalcogenides, means you don't need anything transition metal rather than directly this phosphorus, P, right? They are black phosphorus, directly only phosphorus, nothing else. So that we get it black phosphorus or gallium selenide, gallium arsenide. So this is dichalcogenides here too. Here it is one chalcogenide, right? That's why you tell it as monochalcogenide. Then this is a ferromagnetic material. This is a new type of material 2D. This is the Fe3Ge2. If you do this type of combination, we get some metallic ferromagnetic. So there are some materials, this magnetic, this 2D materials, not only non-magnetic, they can be also magnetic, making a combination like this. So these are some examples of it. Now unique properties, as I have said, most probably I have told many of the things, so they have the thickness very less. Number one, if I say about the one monolayer, means hardly in nanometer, because you know the atomic structure, one unit cell to other, this is in some angstrom, so it is the, means like if I say C axis, right, ABC axis of the unit cell. The C axis will come in some angstrom, 5 angstrom, 6 angstrom. So if it is monolayer, it can be only one layer. If I take, then that will be have 1 nanometer thickness maximum, so it can be 0.3 to 1 nanometer thick, and they have other properties like this, and they have strong Coulombic interaction, and they can also know dangly bonds, and they have very mechanical strength is very high. Now, how we can produce this type of 2D materials? They can be synthesized by different techniques. So, one is like Scotch tape method, which was the initial when graphene was discovered. It was the Scotch tape, means I have this film and I just peel off. So, only that layer is attached to it, and then you dissolve the material in such a way which you had used, and the other material that which is peeled off, that will remain intact, but the material which like Scotch tape you had used, that should dissolve. So that way you get it that one layer. And other thing is that you can do it like liquid phase exfoliation, that you do it with the sonication, means like you have a graphene layer or anything 2D material. So that will be like you have stacking, right? They are called as the van der Waals structures. Van der Waals bond means very loosely attached van der Waals bond. So you have the layers like one by one, and you just make it in such a way as the sonication or exfoliation. So by sonication, ultrasonication, they will break after some time. So that gives you the liquid phase, the ultrasonication, that gives you the flex, means single layers. And you also, one can start from the bottom up like CVD, chemical vapor deposition. Chemical vapor deposition means you vaporize the molecule inside a tube, okay? Thus, whatever, suppose I am doing with the MOS2, right, which you do in the lab, that you do it, you have the molybdenum as well as sulfur, both you evaporate, right? You make it a composition inside a closed chamber, means closed tube, you evaporate, then make a substrate, right? Put a substrate means you have a like a substrate ho sakta hai, or a film means a patla sa kuch holder means substrate, put it inside and then they will settle down on it. Okay, so settle down, that it says a chemical vapor, pehle vapor, so that goes into molecular stage, then they will settle down. Now, I want to ask a question. If I have to, suppose anything is in vapor, right, how it will again cool down? Come back to some suppose this is my substrate, suppose film or आपका एक paper दे देंगे, so it is like a substrate. I have put it and on that a film will be produced. Initially I have heated it so that the molecule all have become vapor and inside a chamber, right? Now how they will cool down on it? उसके ऊपर फिर layer कैसे बनेगा? नहीं, cathode anode is not there. बोलो बोलो yeah. So if I make it temperature less here and then I cool down it, stop it, so naturally the way there is a rain you are getting, right, from the cloud you are getting the rain, how you are getting, so it is cooling down, right? So similarly they are in the vapor stage. Now you have a bigger chamber, here it can rain, there it may not rain, but here you have a confinement that you do it, you have a surface on it, right? So it will cool down and fall inert, right? So you close the temperature, you stop that, and that will be cooled down. So after cooling down, they will stop. So if you know it, I don't have to go much later. That is a thin film technology. You have 3 types of thin film technology, means how the thin film growth takes place, not the technique you use to grow the thin film, how the molecules attach, means one by one, or one after another they stacked. So that is the thin film technology which is used. So once they are formed, right, then you will have to some characterization technique, means suppose it is made, then how it is, whether it is there or not. Then you have the optical microscopy which you can see it, optical microscope. Then Raman spectroscopy, Raman, that says about the Raman effect, if you know, because Raman is the scattering effect, so that if it is this material have the rotational and the vibrational spectrum, this molecule means if it is rotational or the vibrational spectrum means you can know about the molecules present in it, and they are the doping defects and all these things we will say about. There is an example that particular peak here, it says about just that whether it is in MOS2 is two-dimensional molybdenum disulfide. So if it is that two peaks separation is 18 centimeter inverse, then it will be like monolayer. If it is 25 centimeter inverse, then it is a bulk form. So from that one can characterize, yes, that whether it is formed or not. And the other property is atomic force microscopy, the AFM. That is, if you have studied or have done the experiment, have you anybody has done the or have been exposure to AFM? No. So AFM means it says the atomic force, so vibration, and it says how the surface looks like. The AFM means surface, means like this you have a like flat, this laptop screen, it seems to be like very flat, but if I use it, the AFM, I will see that the hills and troughs on it. So if it is microscopic, it is in the nano range, that means magnification is so much that you can see. So therefore it is the AFM, then photoluminescence, which I will come back now, and then other things is the TM, STM, XPS will say about the binding energy of it. So these are the initial things which I say about the graphene isolated. This has been, which I have said already, the photoluminescence, this is confirmed like from monolayer. So when it comes to the monolayer, normally it is a indirect band gap, but it says converts into a direct band gap. Then after direct band gap is there, then only you can find the photoluminescence. Single photon emission, that will come, that it is from the WSC2 defect, single photon emission from HBN or the hexagonal boron nitride. Then magic angle twisted graphene. So bilayer, if one layer is like this, another is like this, then there is a twisting of it. That twisting also gives a superconductivity in some material, like, so that is in graphene or in WS2, like that, like ek layer ho gaya, फिर next essay. So they are not exactly like that. They are on the second layer is in it, so that angle will create change the properties. So this crystal structure key is like you have this like hexagonal, like graphene, that structure. Come to the, so here this sp2, that the zero band gap, then the TMDC, which is say MOS2, WS2, MOT2 and all those things. We have a layer, 2 chalcogen in between one metal, so transition metal, so that is this, and direct band gap here, and the valley polarization at this point, and black phosphorus. So these are different, and this is a hexagonal boron nitride, which is wide band gap. It is sometimes 6 eV or 5.9 eV, and it gives as an insulator, but it has many properties. Now band structure, that gives to it, which already I have told. So that is just, I am just going through it. It is an indirect band gap bulk and the direct. So when it is indirect, they have a different tau and k, like ye idhar hai, this one is there. But when it goes to direct, in case of it, then you will have a straight away jump. And if it is direct, and then you can find the absorption as well as the luminescence. From the luminescence you can say it. Then exciton in 2D materials. So 2D materials, exciton means electron is excited, right? So electron once excited and the hole is created, they are together, right? They will be in a neutral charge, but they are all properties, they will be get transported together. So it is a, then that will also contribute to the conductivity. So exciton is like, it is a neutral exciton or it is a trion. So this is like a electron hole pair. So now we'll come to the other thing is the photoluminescence. What is the luminescence? I am saying about this luminescence. The luminescence means that you have the sample, first it should be a direct material which will give luminescence. should have direct band gap. So the materials, if it doesn't have a luminescence in the bulk stage, you can convert it into a direct band gap by going through it to a monolayer, right? Because it will, so if it is monolayer, then what is happening, or as such if it is direct band gap, what will happen, if you excite it with some light, or one can excite it for a different purpose. So luminescence is emission of light not caused by heat. It is a cold light. Emission, when it photoluminescence, it doesn't have a heat energy with it. And electrons in excited state return to ground state. So you have initial in the ground state has gone to a higher state, not in the conduction band, moreover to the more of the above the conduction band, and then it will be in the excited state, it will not be in the stable state. Now then the next work is, it has to come down naturally when it is in excited state. When it will come down, it will directly, which you also see in laser, if you have studied initially, you have said. So when it come down, if it has something inside, defect state or anything anything impurity or something, vapas, means when it is coming back, it will rest somewhere, right? Not directly to the ground state, rest somewhere. So first it releases some energy, then it releases some energy. So these are of the luminescence. Now this luminescence has, what are the scientific importance, and this is like electronic structure, defect states and quantum confinement. It has, like you have the LEDs, they are the luminescence which is used. The white 2D materials, they have the atomic thickness, entire crystal is on the surface, and you have the tunable emission. So what are the type of luminescence? Luminescence means the basic is electron will go up, will come down. Absorbance says from the valence band, it will go to ground state to the conduction band, that is your absorption. But going up above the conduction band, coming down again to the ground state, in between it can rest somewhere. So that way, you then coming down, it releases the extra energy. When it releases that extra energy, not in the form of heat, then you say it as a luminescent material. Now, so what are the luminescence? Types of luminescence is photoluminescence. Photoluminescence means photon-induced luminescence, means initially you have energized the electron by exciting with the photon. So that is easier because आपके पास visible UV light ऐसे होता है. So then it is a photon-induced luminescence. So it goes to be photoluminescence. Other thing, if you can trigger, that is, this is the photon exciton. Then triggering, if it is like cathodoluminescence, you trigger it by electron beam. And if it is thermoluminescence, means you evaporate thermally, you stimulate it so that it will go off. And this is normally used in dosimetry. You know what is dosimetry? Dosimetry, you know about this radiation, people use some dosimetry here, right? So that is the thermal luminescence. Then chemiluminescence means you are doing it, this biomaterial, so chemical reaction, through chemical reaction you are triggering the electron to go up. Then electroluminescence, that the electric current is the used as the triggering. Now the other thing is that is fluorescence and phosphorescence. This is both come in the photoluminescence, means inside photoluminescence they are fluorescence and the luminescence kinds are fluorescence and phosphorescence. Photoluminescence is, that is the inverse, the electron have gone up using the photon, while going back they are giving a fluorescence and phosphorescence. So fluorescence and phosphorescence, depending upon how delaying process, what time they take for this, then depending upon the delaying process, whether it comes from the, initially it goes from here, like this one, absorption, as I am saying here, that takes absorption, right? While coming back, then initially I was saying that intermediate state it can just rest, and then once it can give, this type of can be a heat based, and this is a fluorescence, another is phosphorescence. So the time it takes for a fluorescence, that means the time it takes from jumping from this state to this and this to this is different, so that way you say it as a fluorescent or the phosphorescent material. Now I'll say about why do defects emit light. Now you will, next is like how we'll get this luminescence. Why they said that in between that while coming back, if there is impurity or anything is present inside it. So if it is a defect, defect means what? Yeah, point defects you have heard. Schottky defect, point defect, Schottky defect और एक defect होता है Frankel defect, Schottky defect, right? You have heard in the point defect, that is basically studied in your MSc. So these defects, the upper one which I have said about the point defect, single atom vacancy or anything, or interstitial means at one place that vacancy is there, somebody else has been stayed there. So those things are the point defects, and bound excitons, as I have said, they both are together, they are also called as a defects, means something is in natural stage, if there is a difference or anything modification, you say it as a defects. Grain boundaries, you might be knowing those idea of grain boundary when you do the resistivity measurement. There you know that if in a material more grain boundaries are there, means because in any material there are grains, right? So that boundaries they have, so they are called as a grain boundaries. Suppose I am growing a crystal, that crystal should grow together all in one direction. That should not be boundary, different domain, right? If there is domain and all those things, then it is a defect, right? It is a two-dimensional defect, means defect is happening in the planar area, so it is a grain boundary is coming. And other edge defects means at certain edge, means at the end of it, it is a defect. So there are many types of defects. If these defects are present in the material, what will happen? The defect states in the band gap, as I have said, that will go in the up from the valence band to the conduction band, it will go, right, initially. But while coming back, if there is a defect level here, right, so it is, electron is captured here to this way of this one, and then after that it is a zero phonon emission, means the zero phonon luminescent ZPL, means phonon is not involved at all. Directly the electron jumps from here to the defect level first, defect level upper to defect level, then after the hole is captured, then you are getting this last one, right? So this luminescence ZPL, which nothing is involved, that you can, it is h nu, right? Light is coming in, light has some energy. It doesn't have that heat energy. So you say it as a two types of emission. One is radiative emission, non-radiative emission. Radiative means it is giving you a radiation, right? So that type of, that ZPL is a radiative emission. Now if then, so if there is a defect, suppose in some material, like HBN, which we have seen in the 2D material, it has a 6 CV. Okay? 6 CV. It's a very tough job, right? Going from ground to upper is tough. Coming from top, upper to means conduction band to this one top. But if we have in between defects in it, what will happen? This type of things can be created, right? So you can have this one in the, okay, so this one is a conduction band and valence band is very high, but you can, if you have defect level here, you can have the luminescence in between, and that energy is in your visible range or UV range, right? Normally it is a visible range. So these type of defects, normally we will say defects are bad for the crystal, but sometimes here the defects induce some mid-gap states, so that the electron which is coming from upper to down, while jumping, it will release the energy. When it will release the energy, if there are defect states, it will stay for some time and then come back. So the defects help in photoluminescence. So it is not bad, rather than it is useful, right? Now, which kind of defects? Now these defects are important. Now if I have a single defect, then I will have a one luminescence point, एक ही आएगा, right? If you have more, so next is I will come back that how you can have like let us make, suppose the material doesn't have any defect at the beginning, whether we can induce some defect in it or not. And if the defect is induced, then if I can design the defects in the material as we need it, means I suppose we want 10 defects or 20 defects. Whether when you prepare the sample, you aim to prepare 20 defects, but while preparing it may have 20,000 defects. So how one can control, that is also an important fact. Okay, if there are so many, then you cannot, you will see a big luminescence, but later what is the major objective, that this I have to distinguish from one luminescence to other luminescence, then I should have a similar type of defects and distinguish it from other type of defects. Suppose one defect is created here, right? And here, so you are getting this much of luminance, this yellow one. Suppose the defect is created here, where my cursor is there, and another defect is here. Then the luminescence will be different or not? Different. So if I can make, so if I can make that thing controlled way, then I can have the luminescence in the controlled way, right? So now, so defect generation one can do it, the electron beam irradiation. So electron beam one can use it, the electron beam, that it will use this electron beam in that way, that it will excite it, the ion beam is used, so that you can knock on some so this electron, so therefore you can create some defects. Now if particularly in hexagonal boron nitride, you can create boron vacancy, means उसमें क्या होगा, boron and boron, hexagonal boron nitride, boron and nitrogen. So either a boron vacancy can be created, nitrogen vacancy can be created, boron nitrogen can be created. If boron nitrogen, if I am something doing some carbon can come and replace, that is interstitial, it can replace it. So carbon at the place of boron, it can be like that. This so many defects. So these defects if we use, then you have different types of luminescence, as I said, as the defect position in the band gap lies in different energy level. So then the luminescence will be different. So this is, I will say about some part, it is about the ion implantation. So you can have the electron irradiation or the accelerated ion. So it is ion implantation, you can implant some ions, there is the accelerators are used for this. And so that when implant means, what will happen if you have some material, some pristine material, means original material, and you implant something, that means you are putting some impurities, right? I will say about, before going this luminescence, you use all have had this sapphire rings open there, right? So here this, have you ever heard what is this sapphire? This is beyond this one, just to understand it. So what is sapphire? Is so ring nahi pehante hain, natural stone. Have you seen it? So what is that? It is alpha Al2O3. What is that? Alpha phase aluminum oxide. If it is there, it is nothing with your subject, just to know it. I am saying exact thing, it will come here. So alpha Al2O3 is like, if you find it and the means you purchase somewhere, you will find it is completely transparent, right? But when there are some impurities in it, whether you create it or the by natural process it is created, so they will say the natural stone. So what is happening if there is chromium impurities in there? Chromium impurities means, like here I can also implant chromium here, right? You can induce the chromium atoms inside that, some percentage like 5%, 1% chromium in the material of alpha Al2O3, then that red sapphire, if you have seen, that is there, right? Similarly, blue sapphire, green sapphire, yellow sapphire, depending upon the impurities, what is happening there, then there the luminescence is there. Khali red karne se nahi hai. It is when excited, your visible light is always there. So with that, because of the impurities, that is getting changed, and you say it is natural stone because it is through mines and all those things, it is naturally generated when prepared, they are induced. Same thing. Now you understand why that luminescence occurs. Now, but if you buy from anywhere, it is only pure alpha Al2O3 is transparent. Okay, so it is pure transparent, but because of the induction of the defects, you find the luminescence, and when you observe the luminescence, the material properties means you are seeing different colors depending upon the impurity. Similarly, if I am using different ions to implant it, means you are externally, here it is not by natural, it is like artificial way, you are inducing it. Right? You can induce those things in this material and create those things so that these ion spaces creates, like if I use the helium ion, then you can create Bb minus in HBN, means vacancy at boron site. Okay, so that means boron site, it is Vb minus, you can say. And if you use the carbon beam, means carbon impurity I am inducing, means acceleration means, if I cannot go everything in detail, acceleration means you are just accelerating some ions and it is making it fall on it. So if you are doing this thing, then you are getting these ions on it and allowing it to enter into it forcefully, that you go inside it, okay, and occupy some space in that hexagonal bond, right? Replace somebody, either any of the element, any of the atom, replace and sit there, so that your atomic composition will change, and not in all atoms, because their impurity is given like 3%, 1%, not in all hexagonal structure it will occupy a space. In some of the hexagonals they will occupy, so that sum of it will also give the luminescence. Okay, so if silicon plus, if I are doing, then the silicon color centers, normally we say it as a color centers. Color center means because it creates, silicon is sitting in this material, so naturally the material energy level is changing, valence band condition, so somebody else is sitting somewhere. If I am exciting, then so that silicon, so because of the silicon implantation, a different color is induced. Color is luminescence, and which color is seen to your eye is luminescent. So that you say that this type of defects which are created because of the external infusion of the element to certain impurities you are infusing it, that gives like two different colors. So they are called as the F center, color centers, and all these things. So, and oxidized edges, vacancies. So there are many ways you can have other purposes like laser ablation, plasma treatment, chemical etching, CVD growth, and many things is there. So characterizing these radiative defects, so how will know that if I am induced this, given this silicon beam or carbon beam, these impurities are produced? One is that normally we will first see the PL, photoluminescence, that luminescence, that is the first one is the confocal PL microscopy. Rather later that, then because you have a radiative transition, radiative, non-radiative, radiative means radiation is coming out, non-radiative means transition of electron is from one level to other there, but without any radiation, means it is releasing the energy in the form of heat. So it will have the non-radiative part. Then other things are the, like one can have the theoretically DFT calculation and other things are there. So one can now, we'll go to the word quantum emission. Now till now I am saying about the photoluminescence. Luminescence, the bigger word is that light is luminescent, means you can say it. Now light is emitted. When it goes off to the down, light is emitted, so it is a photoluminescence. How you have excited, that's the left side word, that will define how it is excited, whether it is electrically tuned or anything. Now, then this one will come later on, this part. So, if I control the defects, as I have said, the number of defects and the similarity or uniformity in the defects. Suppose this is a table, means एक paper दे सकते हो, anybody, one can, white paper, इसके पीछे से एक white paper. So I have this white paper, I say it is a 2D material, right? If I induce the defect uniformly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like equal dimension, and equispaced, then and similar defect, then what will happen? You will find a similar type of luminescence, not a big amount, but whatever you require, that way. So which is very difficult. It is not that easy that which will give. So there is this ion beam that has the advantage that you give in such a way that this much ion should follow here, fall here, this much will fall here, this much will fall here. You have a controlling parameters to do it. Okay, or with a plasma etching or with laser, that you can control that this defect, suppose I say vacancy at boron site, or I say WSC to some excite on this one, that this one only will occur, not the other. Okay, so that, and if I can control it, okay, and if a particular defect is giving, then that intensity will be maximum. If a same anything have you seen about this XRD? XRD means why anybody does this MSc project, they do this XRD measurement. Have you done it? Have done it. What happens in XRD measurement? एक बड़ा peak आता है, एक छोटा peak आता है, multiple peak आता है. What they say? Huh? If it is only single peak, then you say that all the atoms are a crystallization, they all are arranged in a particular direction, therefore the diffraction is same. So if it is the peak is very high, then everybody is aligned in that particular direction. If there are multiple peaks, then you say many people are there aligned in different direction, 111, 100, 100, so many. So you say a polymer, but not polymer, you say it is a amorphous. Not amorphous, but sorry, I am just forgetting. Polycrystal, sorry, right, polycrystal means it is not a single crystal, rather polycrystal means different phases are growing in different directions. Similarly, and intensity means why I come to XRD, because XRD normally everybody does it, so therefore say, so if it is like, why is the intensity high? If majority of them show identical feature, then the peak will be high. So to observe this similar thing in luminescence, majority of them will give the high one. Then if identical defect is created at equidistant, then you will see a particular luminescence but with high intensity, yes or not? Right? So if I can say, then we say as quantized luminescence, or you say as a quantum emission. Okay, so that comes, so that you can do it with optimization, like you using low dose irradiation. Many things comes here, means it is more specific to PhD students. So low dose means small amount. Agar means I will take in a layman, if I use 10 to the power 14 atoms to come here, and if I use common one, if I use in this paper 100 atoms to fall down here, and if I use 10 atoms to fall down there, then what will happen? If I have 10, then I can have like 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then it will have equidistant. I can have the control in it, right? But it is very difficult, so it doesn't happen in 10 or 10 to the power 2, it happens in 10 to the power 9, 10 to the power 7, like that, the atoms. Because you have the 10 to the power 26 atoms in it, your material, Avogadro number of atoms. So then the focused ion and electron beam, then you will focus that if this atom which is there, it will fall, it should, this impurity should go here and stay here, that should be there. And one can say, so these are the photoluminescence fundamentals which I have already explained you, right? Then we will have the spectroscopy, and the other is the confocal PL setup, and you can have the other thing like time resolved PL, which is there if means time resolved means you have, suppose the radiation it is saying with time how it is going, right? Initially whether how the decay process is occurring. Okay, so that is done by time resolved. Now here it is, you have the photoluminescence in monolayer and bulk layer. So you have this bulk layer here. This way one can distinguish, right? If it is 3-layer, tri-layer, bi-layer and monolayer. You see, as I was saying, 8 atoms we are giving this one. The peak intensity is 8. If it is tri-layer, means thin layer surface. If it is monolayer, it is showing 10,000. So the intensity, okay, so that means it is so high immediately because it is becoming the direct band gap, okay. Then you have the monolayer signs like this, so PL enhancement is almost 10 to the power 4 times from bulk to monolayer, you see, right. Now this PL or this luminescence or you say emission, all these things comes in this way. So that you can control it if you use the strain, means you have to control, strain means you can, now it comes in a different way. Strain means like you have to give in such a way that whether the light will PL will go in the red direction or red shift or in the compressive strain, tensile strain. Compressive strain means a spring you have seen, right? If I press it, it is compress. If it is expand it, it will be tensile. Okay. So what is happening? I am not pressing it, compressing it. What is happening? In the crystal, they have a crystal structure. If it is by some way expanded, right, by some strain, some external agent, then you say it as a tensile strain. Means hexagonal structure, but it's a khich raha, so then it is a tensile. If by some way it is pressed, then you have to say it as a compressed. So in that case, the luminescence, if it is a normal hexagonal structure, the luminescence is giving the output, suppose it is particular energy it is giving, then it gets shifted. Okay, then it gets shifted means that difference in the band, that luminescence, that ZPL which I was saying, that gets changed. And with temperature also, you have the different T broadened by phonon scattering, so you have the red shifted peak. Now this is the quantum emission fundamental, so that it is in the hexagonal, the hexagonal boron nitride, right? So hexagonal boron nitride, you have this hexagon here, right? As I said, somebody else is coming here and says here, right? It is not, the structure is broken here, right? The structure is broken because of your some external disturbance or anything. So therefore, or during the synthesis or then when you excite with some light, it will give some emission. Right? Now, this excitation is occurring, as I have said, it is going to the higher stage. Like you have from the valence band to the excitation is occurring to the conduction band. Now, it is not jumping from here to here, in between that ZPL, that zero phonon line, that you are getting this emission. And by controlling, this is only one example. There are different kind of things, effects, disorder. Disorder means, order means everybody is in, like you are sitting, but not, you are not sitting in the ordered stage, right? Somebody gap is more, somebody, same example, then you say it is as a disorder. So similarly, here it is, everybody is not sitting in the hexagonal structure. So if it is a disorder, then there is a some in between intermediate state is created in between, then therefore the emission will be different, right? So now what is this quantum emission which we are saying? And first, photoluminescence, the luminescence word you write it in terms of the emission, means emit current, so it is emission. Now if it is quantized, means quantum means packets, one, second luminescence, third luminescence, then you say it is not in a, at a time everybody is giving the luminescence, that is the photoluminescence, means everybody is saying, then you have a bigger peak. Okay, in the much area everybody is giving luminescence, but if it is only one is going or two is going and then coming back, then you are saying it like you have this ground state absorption and emission here, and you have, there is a measurement one is a G2 correlation factor. So there you use it, the perfect single photometer, means G2 is a parameter. The parameter says is, I will come back later on, parameter says that one light is coming, another light is not coming together, there is a gap. So there is a significant time difference between one luminescence, one light coming, then another light coming. Okay, so if there is no when you say it, the word anti-bunching, means bunch nahi hai, means they are not together, there is a gap, means the time may be in picosecond, but one light is coming, then another light, there is a gap, that is means one is not attached, correlate to the previous one, then that is called the anti-bunching. Then when you say it as anti-bunching, if that parameter, which is normally done in the time resolved photoluminescence spectroscopy, is that G20 is the perfect single photon emitter, means one photon is giving, it is only one luminescence it is giving, means perfectly one. If it is more than that, so this quantum of light, these are the phonon properties which this thing SCY lambda, all these things, entanglement, as I was saying, entanglement means ek jode hue, means one is going another with together. If it is not, so photon pairs with correlated properties, then it is entangled, means one photon another is correlated. If anti-bunching means each one is going, then there is a gap, or there is, then you say the quantum, right? Packet of light, you say. So that here it is similar type. So energy level and optical transitions, which we said about this spontaneous emission, fluorescence, these things I have told before, fluorescence, spontaneous, and radiative and non-radiative, these things also. Similar thing, radiative means it comes with that LO1. That was in between when you say about the ZPL, non-radiative means only when you have the heat one, because it involves the same thing. Now you have this single photon emitters, means as I said, if this G2, there is a parameter which only that equipment can measure it, we cannot हाथ में नहीं measure कर सकते, that equipment will say that G20 is less than 0.5 means single photon each coming from the excited state when it is going to the down state. So single photon, if it is more than that, that will say more, and you have these values like G2, 0.05, 0.01, 0.05, accordingly you have the key feature. So bright means what should be this single photon emitter, that we say it is a quantum emission single photon. That is a new words, it is not for your like MSc but for research files. Means a single photon if I use, what will we use? It we can have lateron, means one photon is coming, right? And if that one photon, it should be bright. Bright means what? Tell me. मैं कुछ लिखा हूँ ब्राइट, आप सोच के बताओ. Time difference low will not give bright. Anybody? Huh? Intensity high. Why this intensity will be high? All of them will only give that particular photon, that particular energy at one time, right? Particular size, so that means it will be bright, right? Then all of them will give. So this is like this means it is like photon anti-bunching, means zero it is coming down. So that is not that much I should not tell about you. This single photon emitters in this materials, this is an example. The same HBN, there it was a different type, here it was a different type, right? This defect, here it is itne sare khali ho gaye, right? So this type of defect, that is giving a luminescence here between 750 to 800 here, and here it will be different. So these are the just example, I am just giving the picture. So hexagonal boron nitride, you have used, I have said from the beginning, they are very used, but normally you will say that it is an insulator, what it will give any luminescence, how? But inside insulator, you create energy level, insulator band gap is 6 eV, you create the energy level through induced defects and control the energy level in between, like I have in between, so in between the levels are there. So in that case, there you will find the emission in the range of 500 to 800 nanometer, which was ZPL which was saying, that is zero phonon line, means सीधा ऊपर से नीचे, only no phonon is there. And then lifetime is this much, temperature is 77 to 800 K. So wide band gap, large window for defect emission, and room temperature operation. The advantage of it that if anything can be done at room temperature, it is always good, right? We have also with the transition metal dichalcogenides, that is the MOS to WSC2, where exciton is formed there, but it only gives the luminescence at 77 K. So then you have to come down to see it in the which temperature, in the cryogenic temperature. So, but this type of material, they give the luminescence. It is not only this, there are similar kind of materials like silicon carbide also, that also gives. So this origin of a single photon, SP means single photon emission, is that what it is, this different types of defects, B and CB. Can we just expect what it should be? B and CB, if I am writing in HBN, What should be that? Means I have told so many times. Vacancy at nitrogen site, but whenever carbon is always present, and carbon at the boron site. Carbon जाके boron site में boron को उठा के it is giving that getting its place at boron place, and during the nitrogen place, because you have this HBN hexagonal, HBN is hexagon, H is hexagonal, boron, nitrogen, nitrogen, like this, right? In graphene it happens C, 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 but here is the alternate boron, nitrogen. So what is happening in that? Carbon is replacing that boron, and vacancy is created in nitrogen. This is one side of defect. So that will give this anti-site complex when one is giving, so this is most common in single photon emission in this one. Other is the boron vacancy, means vacancy at boron site. Here it was above carbon at boron site, and here it is carbon at boron site. Here it is vacancy at boron site. Nobody know carbon is there. Then carbon substitutional, here you say, means through DFT, that is the density functional theory, it is a simulation package from where you can find out if carbon is replacing boron or carbon is replacing nitrogen, and that if means that is a carbon contaminated sample, means the sample is contaminated. As such air mein carbon hai na, so there's unknown complexes, so this gives a ZPL, and WSC2, the other one which is I was saying, that is that temperature I said about it less than 30 K. So these are the how it gives this comparison between HBN and WSC2. I was saying about 77, it is not 77 is difficult, so less than 30 K, which is practically difficult. You have to use the, which one, if you use the helium, I can use that 30 K, not even nitrogen, okay. So liquid nitrogen, and these are the G2 value. So unless that G2 0 is 0.05, means near to 0, then only we will say that there is a significant time difference between the release of one photon to other photon, okay. So that is done by a Michelson interferometer basis. Then let me just go back to, so similar thing we can, I will have to skip this part. So you can do it with the composites. So let me just go back to what is advantage of it, that engineering quantum emission in 2D composites. So one can do the composites, means I can just composite means you can in not only plain HBN, you add something in it, so that will be composite. So composite, if it is there, if some atom is there, it is going not as an impurity but a proportionate factor which will replace the element at different position. So this is the application. I should come back to application. So application, so what is this single photon emission? One photon at a time, so one, okay. So it will can be used in the electronic way, like you have this 1, 0, 0, and like this. So therefore in latter, this single photon emission, they can be used in terms of the quantum key distribution, quantum qubits, and quantum computing and quantum sensing. So this quantum word jo hai, means one light, you are using it as one single one, like 1 or 0, 0, 1, like that you do it in electronics. The same thing is in quantum stage, you can do it here. Then that can be used. So if I am sending one photon, it will give, if I am sending a particular photon from the carbon, suppose I say B and CB kuch tha, so that photon will say that this information you carry, okay. The other photon is going, that will say the other information. So it can be carried out only particular, if it is going, that the particular information can be carried out. So that quantum computation, quantum memory and repeaters, so this key distribution is normally the information carried out. Then 2D materials, they can be used in this electroluminescent devices. Quantum sensing, one can use in magnetometry, strain and all these things. So future direction, what can be done? It can be of different materials. You have the all 2D quantum chip, which can use this 2D SPE. Quantum chip means what it happens in chip? Chip में क्या होता है? So that similar thing, this 2D SP, waveguide, beam splitter and all this, you can use it in the quantum chip. Means chip, you have this phone ke piche jo hai, chip, right? You have the circuits, you have the transistors, right? What happens inside it? It is a transistor memory inside this phone. Now if this same thing can be memory, transistor, everything can be carried out through light. Okay, this light carries this memory, this one carries this information. So then they will be quantized chip, right? That can be used. And you have the other things, AI for 2D emitters, means all these things are the future directions for this area. I think now the key takeaways like quantum emission. So finally, towards the summary, I will say the quantum emission produces discrete photons, which we say till now the final thing that these two zeros should be less than 0.5. HBN, the material that gives the bright room temperature single photon emission in a solid. So defect identity remains open. Which type of defects? 2D TMDC, because the transition from MOS to WS to transition from bulk to direct, that gives a PL enhancement. And the other part, this I have not told, then the application can go to QKD, quantum computing, sensing and LED. So these are some references which you can follow. There are many references. GAIM is the first one. There are many things. SP in Nature Photonics, because Tran is the first person who started on HBN. Previously, HBN was used as a substrate, unused material like that. It was used. Hexagonal boron nitride, just to hold the graphene, it was used as a substrate. In 2016, it was discovered by Tran, right? When you induce the defect in it, that can work as a very good quantum emitter. So thank you for your kind attention. Okay, I think to some extent you have understood about the emission and the luminescence, because it is